Have you ever felt that uncomfortable sting in your chest when someone else gets what you wanted? Maybe it was a friend receiving praise while your efforts went unnoticed. Maybe it was seeing your partner laugh a little too hard at someone else's joke. Or perhaps it was scrolling through social media and feeling a sudden wave of frustration as everyone else seemed happier, richer, more successful, and more loved than you. Most people have experienced jealousy, yet very few are willing to admit it. We often see jealousy as something ugly, something immature, something that only insecure people experience. But what if jealousy isn't simply a flaw? What if it's a deeply human emotion that has been with us for thousands of years? An emotion powerful enough to protect relationships, destroy friendships, motivate success, and fuel resentment all at the same time. Today, we're exploring one of the most misunderstood emotions in the human mind. Why do we feel jealous? Where does it come from? And how does it quietly shape our relationships without us even realizing it? Imagine this. You've been working hard for months. Late nights. Extra effort. Sacrifices. Then one day your coworker receives the promotion you wanted. Everyone congratulates them. They smile. They celebrate. And while you force a smile, something inside feels uncomfortable. You tell yourself you're happy for them, but another voice quietly asks, why them and not me? That feeling is jealousy. Not hatred. Not cruelty. Just the painful awareness that someone else possesses something you desire. Now consider another situation. A woman notices her partner frequently liking another person's photos online. Nothing inappropriate has happened. No boundaries have technically been crossed. Yet she feels uneasy. She checks their profile. She compares herself. She wonders if she's enough. Again, jealousy appears. And then there's social media. Millions of people wake up every day and immediately compare their lives to carefully edited versions of other people's realities. Someone is traveling. Someone got engaged. Someone bought a new house. Someone looks happier than you. The result is a constant cycle of comparison. A modern breeding ground for jealousy. The truth is that jealousy is far more common than most people realize. Everyone experiences it. The question isn't whether you feel jealous. The question is what you do when it appears. To understand jealousy, we must go back thousands of years. Long before social media. Long before modern relationships. Long before civilization itself. Our ancestors lived in small groups where survival depended on resources, status, and social connections. Losing a valuable relationship could mean losing protection, losing opportunities, or even losing survival itself. Because of this, the human brain developed systems designed to detect threats. Jealousy became one of those systems. Think of it as an emotional alarm. When something important seems at risk, jealousy sounds the warning. The emotion isn't necessarily trying to hurt us. It's trying to protect something we value. A friendship. A romantic relationship. A social position. A personal dream. The problem is that modern life triggers these ancient systems far more often than they were designed for. Today, we compare ourselves not to 20 people in a small tribe. We compare ourselves to millions. And our brains struggle to tell the difference. Many people confuse jealousy with envy, but the two are not exactly the same. Envy occurs when someone has something you want. A better job. More money. More success. More recognition. Jealousy involves fear of losing something you already have, most commonly a relationship. If you wish you had your friend's new car, that's envy. If you're afraid your best friend is becoming closer to someone else, that's jealousy. The distinction matters because each emotion influences behavior differently. Envy pushes us to compare. Jealousy pushes us to protect. Sometimes too aggressively. And that's where problems begin. Relationships often begin with excitement, trust, connection, and curiosity. But jealousy can slowly transform that dynamic. At first, the signs are subtle. A few extra questions. A little suspicion. A need for reassurance. Then the behavior grows. Checking messages. Monitoring social media. Questioning harmless interactions. Seeking constant proof of loyalty. Ironically, the more someone tries to control their partner through jealousy, the more they damage the trust they are trying to protect. Trust cannot grow under surveillance. It grows through security. This is one reason jealousy often becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The fear of losing someone creates behaviors that slowly push them away. Not all jealousy is harmful. A small amount can reveal what matters to us. It can encourage communication. It can highlight insecurities that need attention. But unchecked jealousy becomes dangerous. It turns assumptions into facts. Questions into accusations. Concerns into obsessions. Eventually, the jealous person begins seeing threats everywhere. A conversation becomes suspicious. A smile becomes evidence. A delayed text becomes a crisis. At this stage, jealousy no longer protects relationships. It begins destroying them. Because relationships cannot survive when trust is replaced by constant doubt. What's fascinating is that jealousy often has less to do with what other people are doing and more to do with what we believe about ourselves. Many people assume jealousy is caused entirely by external events. But often, the roots lie much deeper. Low self-esteem. Fear of abandonment. Past betrayals. Childhood experiences. Unresolved insecurities. When we don't feel secure in ourselves, we become more likely to see threats around us. The issue isn't always the relationship. Sometimes it's the fear we carry into it. Two people can experience the exact same situation. One feels calm. The other feels intense jealousy. The difference is often internal, not external. Think about how many times jealousy begins with a story we tell ourselves. Maybe your partner takes longer than usual to reply. Instantly, the mind begins creating explanations. Maybe they're losing interest. Maybe they're talking to someone else. Maybe something is wrong. Before long, imagination has filled in the gaps that reality never confirmed. The human brain dislikes uncertainty. When information is missing, it often creates its own answers. And jealousy feeds on those imagined possibilities. This is why communication is so important in healthy relationships. Many conflicts fueled by jealousy are not caused by actual betrayal. They're caused by assumptions that were never challenged. The conversation never happened. The questions were never asked. The fears remained hidden. And hidden fears tend to grow. Social media has amplified this problem in ways previous generations never experienced. Never before in human history have people had constant access to the highlights of other people's lives. Every day we see vacations, achievements, luxury, beauty, relationships, and success. What we don't see are the arguments, failures, insecurities, disappointments, loneliness, and struggles behind those images. As a result, people compare their reality to everyone else's carefully edited presentation. And jealousy thrives in that environment. The comparison never ends. There is always someone richer, more attractive, more successful, more popular. No matter how much we achieve, there will always be someone ahead of us in some way. The race has no finish line. And perhaps that's one of the greatest lessons jealousy can teach us. If our happiness depends on having more than everyone else, we will never be satisfied. There will always be another comparison waiting around the corner. But jealousy can also reveal something valuable. It can show us what we truly care about. Sometimes jealousy points toward a goal we've neglected. Sometimes it exposes a dream we've abandoned. Sometimes it highlights an insecurity we've been avoiding. Instead of asking, why do they have what I don't? A more useful question might be, what is this feeling trying to teach me? Maybe someone else's success reveals a path you secretly want to pursue. Maybe your fear of losing a relationship reveals how much that relationship means to you. Maybe your discomfort points toward wounds that still need healing. The healthiest people don't eliminate jealousy completely. They learn to understand it. They recognize it without allowing it to take control. They acknowledge the emotion without letting it dictate their actions. Because jealousy itself is not the enemy. Like anger, fear, or sadness, it is simply information. What matters is how we respond to it. Do we let it fuel resentment? Do we allow it to damage trust? Do we use it as justification for controlling others? Or do we use it as an opportunity for self-awareness and growth? Every emotion tells a story. And jealousy often tells us a story about what we value, what we fear, and what we believe about ourselves. The challenge is not eliminating jealousy. The challenge is understanding it before it begins making decisions for us. Because the moment we stop listening to what jealousy is trying to say, we risk becoming controlled by it. And perhaps the most important question is this. The next time jealousy appears in your life, will you treat it as evidence that someone else is the problem? Or as a signal pointing towards something deeper within yourself? What is the strongest feeling of jealousy you've ever experienced, and what did it teach you about yourself? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Hidden Minds for more deep dives into the psychology behind human behavior. Until next time, keep exploring your hidden mind.